When you're playing with bigger numbers, you start to realize how everything needs to have a purpose. Otherwise, you're just wasting profit. Like, even though you're making more money, it doesn't mean you should be spending more. You should look at like, what's the return on investment? You need to do the market research. Like, what are the reviews? You know, how much is it costing you? What is the average return? Like, I think now I'm a lot more intentional with where I spend my money. Hello and welcome back to the Beauty Industry Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Kennedy, and today I'm joined with the amazing Elli, who is almost about to finish up work for the year and go on maternity leave. How are you feeling about that, Elli?
I'm not feeling about that. I tell you why, because everything is just going. Like it is, I am still taking phone calls for clients in January, and I kind of get home and I'll get off these phone calls and I'll be like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you need to pipe down, but I can't stop. And I feel like when you love what you're doing and you've got so much valuable information and people are like, I need you and I want you, you don't want to not give it to them, right? You want to be like, I'm here for you. And so then there's a part of me that's like, this baby's great and I'm so happy you're coming, but could you hold off a little bit? I'm not ready to slow down.
Successful, and now you're slowing me down.
Oh, I mean, we are women in business. We do amazing. It's going to work no matter what. It's going to work. We're going to make it work. What's happening in your world?
Well, if anyone's listening to these podcast episodes, by the time this one goes out, I'm probably going to be either midway or at the end of my holiday in Vietnam. So this is the day before I fly out. This is when this podcast episode is getting recorded. So I finished up all of my clients on Monday. Tuesday was yesterday. And I was going through with my team. I put booked, banked, and in demand out there on my stories and as a post for beta testers. And to my surprise, I had like 40 people jump on it, which I was just like, what? And that's only been in the last 12 hours. So I'm hoping that, you know, this time round, it goes really well because, to be honest with you, I have launched things in the past, like fully booked formula. I remember I kept going, I want 30 people, and it was just never going to happen because I didn't have the audience size for it. I wasn't consistent enough with my marketing. It was very last minute. Whereas this project, I have a team behind me. I've been very intentional with it. I have a podcast. I have twice the amount of followers I used to. So like there's so many things that have changed now, but I still had that doubt or fear. So instead of saying, this is how many people I want, I said, I'm just going to put it out there, going to go on my holiday. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, great. And then I'll come back and do a proper launch strategy. And I think doing the beta round while I'm away is a really good way for people to trial it, get some results. And also something I'm really excited to do is for anyone who is a beta tester, they are going to get the opportunity to win a one-on-one with me and also come on the podcast. So that's something that I thought would be a really good incentive for people to actually give it a go and get involved and be a part of Beauty Industry Leaders and the Academy and the podcast. Like it's just really taking it to that next level. So amongst all of that, I am really proud of myself and I practice what I preach because that's what Booked and Banked and In Demand is all about, is actually having the team in place to be able to go away on a holiday for a month and know my business isn't going to burn into the ground. Because last time I did it 2 years ago, I went to Vietnam, mid-breakup. I didn't touch my laptop for a month. I came back and I had to rebuild my business from the ground up. I had no momentum. Everything just like failed miserably. And I've learned a lot from that experience. So this time going around, I'm excited. I know things are like set in stone. They're actually working in the back end for me. I can come in and just check on them or, you know, get Andre, my VA, or Anna, my OBM, to help out. So it's just like, everything that I've learned and failed and, you know, fixed has led me to this moment and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I know you said they get the opportunity to go on the podcast, but I think you're underestimating the opportunity they have to have a one-on-one with you.
Oh, 100%. Your life will be changed. Welcome to the cult.
I think that if you have beta tested and you are listening, that one-on-one is, I mean, am I biased because you're the reason my business got off the ground? Maybe. Maybe, but there's so much value in that one-on-one. Like I have no doubt that they will walk away and go, holy macaroni.
They're like, I wasn't even running a business this whole time. What? No, I'm kidding.
Yes, no, that's a really good incentive. Whoever gets to win that, they're a lucky gal.
Yeah, have to keep you posted. If you listen to this episode and you signed up as a beta tester, get keen to share your wins, because this is going to be an exciting opportunity to come on and grow your brand, get in front of people in the industry, and also share your story, share your wins. What are some of the lessons? Like, I got a message from someone the other day and it said, I want to leave my corporate job, go all in on my beauty business, become a success story and come on your podcast. And I was like, is that actually a goal? And I just went, that is, sometimes I sit here and I'm like, really? Like, is that such a thing? But I think it's really cool. And that's the platform I want to build and, you know, bring the community together. It's been a year of hard building, but now that we're here, I'm like, okay, now we're into the next phase. Anyways, apart from that, I have a really interesting episode idea that I wanted to run by you. And that is talking through things that either we have thought would make us successful or things that our clients thought would make them successful, but they didn't. And it's not just going to be bagging out the things as in like, that was wrong, like don't ever do that. It's more about why is it maybe wrong, or what's the mindset shift we have to do, and what do you need to focus on instead? Do you have any that come to mind for you? Like, what's a mistake, not a mistake, sorry. What's something that you thought would make you successful, but it didn't? And what did you learn from it?
I think for me, I really honestly thought that I had to build a really big following on social media for me to even get off the ground. So I think at the start, I thought, oh, you'd need to obtain X amount of followers to have X amount of people to even look or consider you as a really good consultant in this industry. And if I hadn't just gone with it and just done what I've done, I would still have no one, because I would just be trying to build something that isn't necessary. So I have, what do I have? Like 360 followers. Like I'm nobody in the big scheme of things on Instagram. But
6 months ago you had 40, so you're doing really well.
Getting there. But I must admit, if there's anything that I do take from that is out of those followings, the interactions that I actually have with like my small community of followers is very, very, very strong. And I've still been able to obtain and work with 11 clinics in that time frame. And I mean, you know, the ins and outs of my business, they're not just one and done clients.
So they're paying you a retainer of what, $1 to $3 grand a month?
Yeah.
And you've got 11 clients and you've got less than 400 followers. So what does that tell you? You can still make money. You don't have to have all the followers.
Yeah, honestly. And it's, I think being, I don't know, there's so many things on social media where it's like you have to do this or don't post this or post that then. Or, you know, I think that your branding needs to be consistent and I think that your communication needs to be consistent. But as long as you are adding the value that you need to your potential client, the right clients are going to see you. And as well, like going back to assuming that you would need to have that many followers, it always comes back to word of mouth, doesn't it? Word of mouth is everything. If you've got good networking skills or you have the ability just to reach out and talk to people, I think social media is great to have it there, but like it's you. It's all you at the end of the day. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It's really interesting because I see both sides of the coin, right? You can't have no audience because then you can't sell to anyone. So obviously, if you've got 50 followers, it's going to be a lot harder to get more clients than it would if you had 500 versus 5,000 versus 50,000, right? The benefit in having a bigger audience is that there's new people to sell to and you don't exhaust your audience as quickly. So as a general rule of thumb, however many people are viewing your stories, because they're actively seeing your stuff, right? You might have followers, but how many people actually see your content? It's only like 5 to 10%. So of those people, only 3% are ready to buy. And so if you have 100 people viewing your stories, then you may only have a chance at getting 3 to buy from you. And so you've got to invest in growing your audience size and getting more eyeballs, which is what you've done. You've come on the podcast, you've gone and engaged in networking events, you've gone to Elli Lucas. Like there's so many different things that you've done that were outside of social media. And I think that's a powerful tool to remind people is that you getting out and showing your face, like you're saying, is another tool that people get so scared of. You know, they think everything has to be on social media, but if you're out there meeting people in person and having conversations, then that word of mouth will also transfer to their communities. So that's one thing I would think about. The second thing is I remember, this isn't my business account, this is my personal account, when I was doing Miss Universe and I went from having, I think it was like 5,000 or 6,000 followers to 12,500. And I remember thinking in the lead up to hitting 10,000 followers that when I get that little K, my life will change. And I was like, I don't know what I expected to happen. Like, you know, I was expecting brand deals and all these things like, and then it ticks over and you get the little K and you're like, oh, still live in the same apartment. I don't have $1 million in my bank account. Like, and I think for me, I don't know what it was, that whole hype thing. Like, yes, when you got over 10K, you got invited to a lot more events and it helped. And I got free festival tickets, like VIP, all that stuff. And I did get to go to a lot of launches and campaigns for PR. But the other thing that came in when I started hitting those high followers was my reach was a little bit bigger, but my engagement went down. And I actually found when I had less followers, I had higher engagement. So I had 1,000 likes, 200 plus comments on my photos when I had 5,000 followers. But when I went up to 12,500, I actually noticed that I only got, you know, maybe 400 likes and maybe like 2 comments. And so it's quite interesting how we think it's going to work. And it obviously depends on your marketing strategy. But I have a client, she has 34,000 followers. Her reels go viral all the time. So she get like 1 million, 2 million views on them. And as we were going through and doing an audit, I said, let's go into your insight. Let's look at your followers. Where are they all based? She's like, America.
Oh, no.
And she's in Perth and she doesn't do training. So she just offers services at this point in time. And so she can't sell to the American market right now. And then I'm asking her, what time is your most active time to post? And she's going, oh, it's like midnight to 3 a.m. And I said, oh, well, I don't think the people of Perth are awake at that time. So
no.
then when you get all those followers and you're going viral, it's not necessarily your ideal client. And so having followers, having no followers, yes, it's good to have followers and an audience to sell to. But I think what's more important over any of that is actually making sure that they're the right type of people that you can sell to. There's no point having, you know, all your friends and family who are never going to buy off you.
Yes.
It's going to stuff up your algorithm, like, you know. So
yes.
I think there's nothing wrong with having lots of followers or having no followers, but you've got to think about what's my growth strategy for getting more ideal clients following me, not just anyone and everyone.
Ooh, so good. So good. I think as well when you're talking about what your ideal client is, if you're selling consulting, that's one thing. But if you're wanting to sell packages online, the followers need to be there for sure as well.
Also, to add on to that, if you change what you're doing all the time, that's when it can get really confusing. And I see this happen a lot with people who go from just offering services to then in the education space, now they're selling products. And you may have built your following, like let's say 5,000 followers, you've built your following offering skin services. Now you're becoming a trainer or educator, but you haven't created a separate account for that. So now all your content has changed and you're talking about, here's how to perform a skin consultation. And all of your clients are like, what? You offer skin services? I don't want to watch this content. It's not relevant to me. And so then your engagement goes down, you lose followers and you're like, what am I doing wrong? Am I failing? And it's so easy to feel like everything's working against you in that point of time. But it might have just been that, hey, this audience doesn't want to see that type of content because they know me for this. And it's actually better to create a separate account. So it's a hard one. I think you've got to be really clear on what your goals are and who you're selling to and what you're selling. And if that does have a bit of a crossover, that's fine. But I've had a client in the past who's worked with me and she did a lot of in-person services and then she wanted to move completely online and just doing online trainings only. And then she decided to change to something else. And so no one knows what she does, how she helps, what she's selling anymore. And so it's actually worked against her and she's had to pretty much like reintroduce, explain everything, like really go back to the basics because the messaging is just so conflicting.
Wow. What do you think is something that you thought you needed?
I don't know if it's needed. Something I thought that would make me successful was I was watching a lot of business coaches at one stage. This is 2 years ago. And I saw them all going on holidays. And they would always say, oh, I'm making my most amount of sales like as I'm going on holiday. And I thought, oh, wow, like if I just start traveling and posting that I'm on holiday, I'm going to make more money.
Yes. Okay. This is everyone, isn't it? Everyone wants to live the dream. And if it's perceived that they are living the dream, then it will just happen.
I went to go live in Thailand, in Bali. I lived my life as a digital nomad and I did still have money coming in, but I wasn't hitting, 30, 50, 100K months like all these other people. And I was going, what am I doing wrong? Like, this is the biggest load of bullshit ever. And then I realized, wow, I had no systems and processes in place. I had no real support team. Like, I wasn't delegating nowhere near as much as I do now to Andre. And it's so funny that I had this come up for me when I was thinking about this episode because now I'm going away and I'm like, I can go on holiday and I can make money because I busted my ass off building out this training. I had my OBM set up all the automations and workflows. That's stuff I would have never done in the past. I would have been manually sending out emails and login details. So I've got emails that do that. And then I've got Andre. She does my Instagram engagement. I have all my new branding and templates and stuff started out. Like she's trained in my chat GPT. Like there's everything now that can allow me to take that step and make money while I go away. But naive Sammy didn't know that and just thought, yeah, if I go on holiday and I look like I'm living my best life, the sales will come in. And it actually had nothing to do with that. It had to do with what are your back-end systems and processes? What are the automations? Like what team is helping run the business while you're away? And then who's staying consistent with things like selling on stories, like actively doing lead gen. Okay, real talk. If you're a beauty business owner and you're still doing everything yourself, from posting on socials to replying to DMs on the toilet, creating reels at 11 p.m. in bed, trying to keep your books full, lead a team, and somehow still show up as a decent partner, friend, or parent, this is for you. I created Booked, Banked, and In Demand because I was that burnt out business owner once. Always working in the business, never having enough time to actually work on it. I've now taught the strategies inside this training to over 300 salon owners who have gone on to triple their revenue, become the go-to name in the area, and finally get off the income roller coaster, burnout, and chasing clients. It's also the system I used to build a multi-six-figure coaching business and scale a 7-figure bowling alley in 7 months. Because once you know how to attract clients, convert leads, and create consistent cash flow in your business, it works anywhere. Inside Booked, Banked and In Demand, you'll learn how to attract dream clients on autopilot with the content that consistently fills your calendar. Lock in 90% plus rebooking rates so your income isn't riding a roller coaster every single week, and delegate the back end to a VA so you can step out of burnout mode, reclaim your time, and focus on doing more of what you actually enjoy, whether that's growing your business or taking a damn holiday that you know you deserve. So if you're tired of doing it all and ready to get more clients, make more money, and finally have more time freedom again, this is your sign. Click the link in the show notes and let Booked, Banked and In Demand be the last training you'll ever need. So there's stuff that can be done while you're physically in the business. Like obviously, if you're presenting a masterclass, you would need to be live for that. If you were doing a 3-day challenge, you would need to be live for that. If you were doing coaching calls with clients, like you need to be there for that. But if you wanted to take time off and take a step away, you know, getting a VA to do some of your marketing for you, getting a VA to help out with client follow-ups or data input or, you know, reconciling transactions, that's all stuff that you don't have to slave away doing on a holiday. And I think I used to always think, oh yeah, laptop lifestyle near the pool. And I'm like, no, I want to be reading a book by the pool, not sitting on my laptop. Like I love working, but I also need to remind myself that if I'm paying to be on a holiday, it's that time's for me to fill up my cup and make memories and have a fulfillment opportunity, not do more work for the sake of it because I feel guilty and I can't step away. So yeah, that was probably a big one for me.
I wonder how many people are doing that and we think they're making it and they're just faking it. Honestly. And how many are saying it's a holiday, but it's a working holiday? That's the other thing.
Oh, I intentionally go on working holidays. I'm like, I can go to Sydney. I'm going to stay with Jade and we're going to work every day because like I can. But there's some people, like I just recently spoke to someone who's been following me for ages and she said, yeah, I need a VA. I'm doing Booked, Banked and In Demand. And she said she went to Dubai and she was on a 10-day holiday or something like that. And she was just constantly on her laptop doing work. And I was like, it shouldn't be that way.
No.
And I think as well, when I look at holidays now and I look at my parents who, you know, we never went on holidays growing up. We never got to do any of that stuff. We never celebrated the wins either because we were always just moving on to the next thing through survival. If you're not, and it doesn't mean you have to go on an expensive holiday, guys. I go on the cheapest holidays ever. I go to Vietnam. I go to Thailand. I work within my means. Like I don't try blow 30, 50K on a Euro summer. Like that's just not within my price range right now, nor is it within my time zone differences with clients. But I think it's really important to take time off working. And we look at people who are so burnt out in the industry, and this is probably another thing, like people think they'll be successful if they do it all themselves or if they don't, I don't know, even paying for little things. Like, is it cheaper for you to pay for a graphic designer, like let's say $1,200 for someone who's actually an expert or professional, versus you going on Canva, you going buying these Etsy templates, changing it, then getting told by your sign writer, hey, that font's not readable. You're going to have to get that in this certain file, like, you know, the vector files. And then they're going, I don't have a vector file. What's that? And then they're like, well, you're going to have to go get a graphic designer to do it. And then you've got to spend all that money plus what you're going to have to pay for the graphic designer.
I feel like I've known so many people who have done that.
But it's
Canva, they've done this. It's a whole nother conversation, isn't it? What you choose to do when you start up your business and where you choose to invest things. That's a whole nother conversation.
Definitely. But I think people don't necessarily know any different because they're trying to do the best they can with the resources they have at the time. It's very easy to fall into the trap of looking at other people's success and thinking that that's what's going to be successful. Like I know I have a couple clients, I'm sure you have it in the past as well, where they believe that if they go below $250,000 on a fit out, they're going to make X amount of dollars. And when they go to open their doors, they still don't have a marketing strategy. They don't have the team to actually sustain covering those operational overheads. So then it's like one person or two people covering what should actually be a team of 4 fully booked to be able to like handle the cost of that fit out.
I have actually had a couple of businesses that I know the owners. And when I reflect on the decisions they've made in their business, I am shocked that they even went into business
I
because
think that's
they didn't take
so
so much.
my parents.
No, there was just so many things that they didn't take into consideration. And I'm very strategic when I start something. I think about, will it require me to work weekends? Will it require me to not have time with my family? What's the outgoings on my time versus the money coming in? Like, I kind of think about all those things before I make a decision. These people just bullet a gate. And I think, gosh, how do you actually go into that not having that all mapped out?
That was honestly my dad when it came to building the bowling alley. We had a $600,000 budget. We withdrew on our home loan, so we had equity in the house, and then put that towards bowling and almost went bankrupt halfway through. And I remember we were going to private investors at the time and trying to get all these loans. And so we were getting loans to cover the loans. And all of a sudden, when we added everything up, I just remember him thinking, oh, it's only 150K more we need. That's it. And then it's done. And then we'd be at like 750,000. And then it got to $1 million. And I remember at 1.2 million. And then we got the last loan through, which is about 120,000. And we realized we probably needed about another 350 grand. And it blew out to 1.7 in the end. And nothing could have actually prepared us for that, even if we did plan, because the timeline got pushed out, trades went up, cost of living, interest rates. So there was a lot of stuff out of our control, but still not having any idea of like what that fit out would cost and then how much it would, take for us to repay it back. That's why all of the prices from bowling, food, arcade, like I break it down to the T of like, okay, how much profit are we making here? How much is it costing us to get it in? And then also if we buy something like an arcade game, how many days of operating this and average, how many people will play it? How much does it cost to like make that back?
Yes.
And then what revenue will that bring into the business? And then if there's things that aren't bringing revenue into the business, getting rid of them. It's just like you guys having dead stock on shelves, if it's not selling, get rid of it. Like don't have it sitting there until it expires and then you lose everything. Like at least do a sale, try get something back.
Add value in amongst a promo. Yes. Yeah. Such big figures, isn't it? When you're doing something like that. Like that scares the living daylights out of me.
I want to do a walkthrough video when I go down to Albany in July and just point at things and be like, this is how much this cost. This is how much this cost. The other day we bought a mop and it was $5,000.
What?
Yeah. So we have wooden flooring and we've bought so many different mops and buckets. We've even paid for cleaners and they're just always good in the first 2 to 3 weeks and then they're just crap after that. So we decided we'll take cleaning into our own hands. We've got a staff member that helps out with it and we've got this really fancy mop and it does like washing and cleaning and like it's a full electrical one. It's very high-end commercial grade, but we've probably spent about $1,000, almost $2,000 on different mops and buckets and everything to even get there. So we knew it was a worthy investment. We even got those little Robo vacuum cleaners and Robo would fall off the stairs and then we're like, oh no, Robo.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like I think as well, when you're playing with bigger numbers, you start to realize how everything needs to have a purpose. Otherwise, you're just wasting profit. Like even though you're making more money, it doesn't mean you should be spending more. You should look at like what's the return on investment. Just because you buy this thing and it looks good, you need to do the market research. Like what are the reviews? How much is it costing you? What is the average return? Like I think now I'm a lot more intentional with where I spend my money. Whereas in the early stages, I was willing to just throw money at whatever in hopes that it would bring back more, but I didn't do my research. So that was a big lesson, $50,000 lesson, but it's fine. Before we wrap up, have you got one more thing that people think will make them successful, but it doesn't actually?
Yeah. I think that in amongst our beauty industry, a lot of business owners, they might know where they want to go and they just keep assuming if they keep on adding different services that they will get there, or even product ranges. There's this company that I know of, and she really wants to go down the skin pathway, which is great. And she spent so much money on getting this whole stock range. And we know stock ranges now, it's quite a bit of money to get. You can't just spend a low amount. They want you to buy the whole system, and it could be 30,000 just to put on the shelf. But she didn't even have the clientele yet to service that actual service that she wanted. And so rather than building it out slowly and introducing, this is what we're about, this is what we're doing, she went and spent all of this money on this whole range. And now it's all sitting there, which obviously is ticking over. The expiry date is ticking over. It's not necessarily shifting, or even potentially the clientele that she wanted, or the clientele that she had, wasn't even able to afford that kind of product because they weren't there yet. Does that make sense?
I definitely get where you're coming from. I think I see it a lot with people who want to become a one-stop shop. Like they want lashes, nails, brows, skin, hair, makeup, skin tightening. What is it called?
RF.
RF, like all the things, like body sculpting. They want every single service under the sun. And I actually did have this happen with Tash, who I've spoken about a fair bit. She's the one that's gone from like 6 to 18K in the space of 12 months. When she was making 6K a month, she was offering everything. Like she had fat freezing or fat cavitation. She had body sculpting. She had the BBL suction cup things. Like then she was doing cosmetic tattoo, lash lifts, brow lamination.
For the listener's perspective, if they don't know Tasha's story, when you say she was making $6,000 a month, if she's got all of these machines, what's she actually making a month? Because if she's had to fork out to get all of these machines and she's now paying them back, what was actually going on? Like, was she profitable at this point, or was she not profitable because she was just...
She had to get another job. Yeah. She had other income coming in to pay off the machines. So she would do that on the weekends just to get the money to come in and then try to cover it. Like it was actually really tough for her, and she didn't understand why it wasn't working. And I had to sit down and go like, this isn't working because no one knows what you're actually good at. And you're not even good at any of these services because you've only done one training, offer it. Now you're doing the next training. You haven't even invested any time to become good at it. And I remember in that moment, it was like the penny dropped for her because she realized I've been stuck at this 6K a month, working weekends, trying to pay off everything, and it's not working. And then I think she just let go of her ego. Like she was like, okay, I don't have to do it all. Like I'm just going to focus on this one thing. And the second she started doing that, and she was focusing on being really, really good at brow lamination and lash lifts because they kind of went together, all her marketing messaging got clearer.
Yes.
People really understood what she did. She was able to increase her prices because she improved. She reinvested back into upskilling in those services so she got better at them. And then slowly over time, her income just started scaling. And then she upsold those people into cosmetic tattoo, which then she upskilled in again. So then she actually started off with really low barrier entry services that almost anyone and everyone could probably get, which was the lash lift and the brows. Then she developed a rapport and relationship with them. Then she went and did the cosmetic tattoo training and then upsold all of those clients into the cosmetic tattoo. So that's how she went from 6K to now 18K. She's booked out 3 months in advance now. And when I got rid of my lash extensions, I actually had to go on a wait list for a month and a half to get in because I was like, I got her fully booked. But the whole lesson that I learned and saw firsthand was like doing more isn't going to get you more clients. And the same problem will keep coming up for you. So if you think adding more services is going to get you more clients, you might train up in all these services, but the same problem of not knowing how to get clients is going to happen no matter what. So you need to invest in marketing and building your brand up to get the clients. And then you can go, okay, cool. Is there demand for these services to be brought in? Do my clients actually want this? Test first. Don't just go and train and add something that no one wants.
And look
she
around.
did that with the
look around as well. What else is around you? sorry to cut you off. It's such an unpopular opinion to say that a one-stop shop isn't necessarily the it shop, I think, because there are still a lot of salons out there who want to offer everything. But if you look around and you've already got someone who specializes in brow tattooing, someone who specializes in skin, someone who specializes in blonde balayage, if you want to say, like, and you are touching on all of those, I think that the people these days want to go to people who specialize in these areas. So if you're going to introduce something,
Definitely.
you've got to look outside and around you as well. What are you competing with?
See, I'm not the kind of person who would go the same place to get my lashes and brows done. I would go to the specialist. And I think about it like, do you want to be the GP who knows a little bit about everything but isn't able to actually do much more than prescribe or point you in the right direction to a referral? Or do you want the specialist who knows exactly how to solve your problem? They can fix it efficiently. And I'm willing to pay more for the expert in that area who's going to give me the best result. And I think I had to even learn that through coaching in the beginning stages. I was like, I can help everyone with setting up their business. And I'm like, no, I actually needed to get really good at one thing, and that was marketing and lead generation. So I was getting all these salons booked out, but then I realized, what's the problem after that? Okay, the problem after that is they've got all these clients, but they don't know how to rebook them. So I taught them sales skills. And then after they got all the clients, then I went and added in the profitable pricing calculator. I didn't start off trying to do everything really well. Like, I did try to do a bit of everything in the start, and then I realized I can't do it all. So I focused on one thing, got known for that one thing, and then added other things in over time. And I think it doesn't matter what industry you're in, people need a lot of social proof to buy from you, right? They need to see a lot of success stories, testimonials, results before they go and make an investment. And this is in beauty, this is people's faces. It's how they look. Of course, they're going to be selective unless you've got people who, want to pay next to nothing and complain about everything like they're a different kind of breed. Mm-hmm. But any person who has some kind of sense in them, they want to find someone they can trust is good at what they do. And as soon as you start shifting your attention and trying to offer so many different things, like, no one will buy from you. And it's a lot easier. This is what I say to all of my clients. Max, pick 3 services that we're going to promote. If it's on stories or doing lead gen, and we can rotate through them week by week and just test. But if anything, I want you to niche, as in I want you to be brow expert or lashes and brows. But I've had clients in the past who's like a hairdresser and a lash tech. She's doing those 2 jobs. And I'm like, they don't complement, get rid of one of them and be good at one thing. Either niche into a category of services, for example, cosmetic tattoo. So you could do lips, brows, eyeliner, you could do that kind of umbrella term, or specifically, I only do brow cosmetic tattoos. So then you only do powder combo, or you do brows. So you do cosmetic tattoo brows, and then you also do lamination, wax and dye. I think if we look at not trends, I would actually call this an evolution of the beauty industry. It is actually focused towards people who want personalized, customized services with specialists.
Yeah.
And so if you're wondering, why am I competing with everyone? Why am I always discounting my services, offering the same thing? Is because you're trying to be everything to everyone, and you need to just focus on one thing that you're going to get really good at, because if you're good at that, you can increase your testimonials, your social proof, your prices, you become the expert, and it just keeps helping your brand and your skill set build in the industry.
Well said, sister. And I know that it's scary. I've had clients that have made that pivotal change and transitioned, and they are petrified at the idea that they're going to lose so many clients because, well, if I take away nails, how will I get that money in? But I think they really need to turn their mindset around from what is actually profitable and not profitable. And if you're passionate about one thing over the other thing, then maybe it's time to let that go so that you can put more time into this. Or even if your staff are all passionate about skin, but they're getting booked up in pedicures, and pedicures aren't profitable and they don't even want to do them, why are you offering them?
Yeah. Yep.
Make your staff happy. Fill up the
Oh,
rooms.
sorry.
No, that's all right. Make the staff happy. Fill them up with the rooms of doing the services that you want to do that are profitable for your business.
The last thing I would say about this whole niche specializing thing is you can be a one-stop shop if you are a big brand and you have a team. So if you have a salon and you've got, let's say, 8 to 10 staff, or even if you have 5 staff, it doesn't really matter. And each staff member was trained in, I guess, a few of your signature services, but then they have one specific area that they are specializing in, then I'm like, cool, I can go to this one-stop shop, but I know this person is the expert in cosmetic tattoo. I know this person is the expert in, eyelash extensions. So then that way within your team, you still have specialists or experts. And that's where it can work because you can have a premium brand, you have specialists and experts working underneath you, and you can charge premium prices for it and remain profitable. But if you're getting everyone to do the same thing, then, how can you trust that someone's going to be able to do things to a high standard when they're trying to learn 10 different services?
Yes. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Good chat, girlfriend.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. It was a bit of a different one. Please let us know how you found it. We're trialing and testing some different topics and structures. And honestly, we are drawing on you, the community, to let us know what you find most engaging and valuable. So please send us through a DM at Beauty Industry Leaders on Instagram and let us know which your favorite episode has been so far. And we will endeavor to get this podcast even bigger and better than before.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Have an amazing week. Have a great time, even though I'm probably in Vietnam when you're listening to this, but sending all my love and all the good vibes. And I can't wait to give you updates when I'm back. Bye.
See ya.
Audience exclusive.